Where is the king of chefs? Hey, speak up! Tell me! Bastard!
Shoot! Doctor, I'll kill you!
You just wait, I'll find you.
That is Shang Tsung, who plays the mysterious Man in the Straw Hat, searching for the King of Chefs in the 1979 martial arts film of Cooks and Kung Fu. The movie, produced by the Great China Film Company based in Hong Kong, is a clone of previously made films, most notably Jackie Chan's earlier films, and is one in a long line of movies that uses cooking in its premise. However, this movie, while formulaic in its structure, borrows a bit of its storyline from a Western contemporary film in its era. The film stars Jackie Chan, no, I'm not kidding, who plays Tan Tan, a mischievous young man who lives humbly with his grandfather, played by Chia Kai. Tan Tan's grandfather, who once was the head chef for the emperor, is raising the boy alone after he found his parents mysteriously slain years before. The movie starts off with our hero, Tan Tan, learning the fundamentals of his grandfather's special cooking kung fu, which he has developed through the years. The style is unique for a martial arts film in that the different techniques are built around various dishes that are indigenous to the culture, such as bird's nest soup, sweet and sour pork, beggar's chicken, Chinese fried rice, and sesame cakes, to name a few. Tan Tan is lazy and uninitiated, which is why he doesn't excel in his studies. He constantly gets into trouble and has unnecessary confrontations that lead into skirmishes, which he loses. So he and his grandfather get back in the lab and continue his training. Meanwhile, the Man in the Straw Hat has hired 2 more men to help him do some killing and searching for the King of Chefs. It is here that the movie takes a little time to build some backstory that hopefully will pay off later. See, there's this rich lord who wishes to throw a dinner party for his birthday, a dinner fit for a king. One of his servants, played by Lee Kwang, tells his lord the story of the greatest chef ever to cook for the emperor. He was nicknamed the King of Chefs and became the exclusive cook for the emperor's wife. One day, the head chef served the queen some scallops, and she cracked a tooth on a piece of lead that got into the dish. The queen wanted to have him beheaded, but ultimately was convinced to have him banished and blackballed, so he would never work again. Well, the servant believes he can track this cook down and convince him to cook the birthday dinner for his lord, and sets out to do so. Meanwhile, our hero has improved a bit and sets out to avenge a loss he took earlier from one of those skirmishes I mentioned. Tan Tan wins, but his opponent does not give up and eventually brings the fight to Tan Tan and his grandfather's doorstep. Tan Tan is forced to fight in front of his grandfather, and just as he is victorious for a second time, Lee Kwang's character finds the two and makes the grandfather an offer, which he refuses. We now turn our focus to Mr. Chow, a former assistant chef to Grandpa, who has avoided the murders thus far, but now finds himself being pursued by the killer in the straw hat. When the killer catches up to him, they engage in a battle, and Tan Tan just happens to be passing by. Tan Tan intervenes on behalf of Mr. Chow, who is losing his fight, but inadvertently reveals his cooking kung fu to the killer, who deduces that he must be related to the King of Chefs. Mr. Chow sacrifices himself, and Tan Tan escapes. Tan Tan goes home and tells his grandfather what has happened, and they quickly return to where Tan Tan last saw Mr. Chow, who is now dead. Grandfather has no choice but to explain to his grandson the circumstances that brought them there. It seems that after he and his assistant chefs were all fired from the palace, Grandpa went home and found both his son and wife murdered. So he took their surviving infant son, Tan Tan, and moved far away. Grandfather rightly believes that whoever killed his son and daughter-in-law is also responsible for the deaths of all the assistant chefs. Tan Tan, enraged by this revelation, rededicates himself to learning Kung Fu so that he may take revenge, and we get a fabulous training sequence. Let's watch! Realizing that it is no longer safe where they are, the two embark on a journey to relocate, and it is not long before they are encountered by the two killers that were hired by the man in the straw hat. The killers, the king of the underworld and the devil's disciple, have unique styles that test the mettle of our two heroes. Eventually, they overcome their enemies, but not before Grandfather is seriously wounded by one of them. The two take refuge while Grandfather tries to heal from his injuries. Tantan goes into the forest to continue his training and incorporates the styles of the two killers into his own kung fu, which makes him very powerful. When he returns from training, Tantan finds that the man in the straw hat has uncovered where they were hiding and has killed his grandfather. Tantan is in hot pursuit when he catches up to his grandfather's murderer, and it's a fight for the ages. Of Cooks and Kung Fu is a paint-by-numbers clone of an early Jackie Chan film, Fearless Hyena. It's got some humor in the beginning that turns more serious towards the back end. With decent fight scenes and a decent performance by the hero, it's a good enough movie to get you a fix if you're jonesing for some quick kung fu action. So let's talk about it. The pros. The movie is smart enough to use the formula established by Jackie Chan. You've got the goofy yet charming hero. You get the stern but loving grandpa, a mysterious villain and his henchmen, emotional stakes that lead to character turns, good training sequences, facing dirt or poop, and the final battle in a secluded location. And that's it. A solid blueprint that leads to a good time. The cons. Using Chan's blueprint is fine, but you have to ensure that things make sense. First of all, you have a killer who apparently was an assistant chef to Grandpa, got jealous of all his kudos, and sabotaged his meal, which got everyone fired. I'd say mission accomplished. And yet, he went on a killing spree to get revenge for something that he caused. Doesn't make sense. Next, you have the Lord's assistant who wants to hire a man that served bad food to the queen and cost her a tooth. Also, doesn't make sense. One of the things that sticks in my craw was the absence of cooking kung fu after the halfway mark. It seems that the idea of cooking kung fu was a comedic vehicle utilized up until things got serious. Then our hero abandoned all the earlier styles for more deadlier techniques. I know he says he is using cooking kung fu in the end, but it didn't feel that way. Lastly, on the technical side, about halfway through this film, the sound doesn't match up with the action. I'm not referring to your typical dubbing. I'm talking about the sound literally not matching up with movements during fight scenes. Incredibly annoying, and I hope that someday they will fix this. Overall, I think that Of Cooks and Kung Fu is an okay film, particularly if you like Jackie Chan's earlier movies. It's got a good amount of fun, the fight choreography is pretty good, but there are a few question marks within the story, and the sound audio is atrocious. So for these reasons, I'll give it a 6. Well, that's all for now. Tell us how you feel about Of Cooks and Kung Fu. Did you like it? Comment below and let us know. And please don't forget to hit that like and notification bell. Helps with the channel. Until next time, this is your boy, OG Ant the Lone Wolf, signing off. Thank you for your support, and may Buddha bless you. Peace.